weeks from today, and it gives neighbors a chance to spread awareness about violence prevention. Crimestoppers GNO CEO Darlene Cusanza is here to share details about that, as well as some of the work the organization has done to address crime in the area. Thank you for being with us, Darlene, and you're joining us right after the day we found out that New Orleans once again is topping the country with its murder rate.
Definitely. I mean, it's certainly not new news.
Right. We knew things were bad.
We saw things that were happening. Yeah. We've seen this trend, and I think for the city and certainly for our officers, I mean, I'm glad to see that there's some proactive things now being tried. I think everything we're talking about, putting more officers on the streets, it allows us to be more reactive. But what I would hope is that the citizens take up the mantle that, for us to continue to be proactive, to do the work behind the scenes. That's really what Crimestoppers is all about. It's developing that intelligence, and developing and putting together those trends to give to law enforcement so that they have more opportunity to prevent and solve crimes.
Sure, and I think the community feels safer when they see those crimes being solved and people being held accountable. I know you have updates to several cases today.
Yes, we do, and we did that intentionally because we want people to feel safe. We want them to feel empowered, and the fact that this is coming, everything we solve through a tip comes from them. Law enforcement's taking their information seriously, and of course for us, our challenge is always getting the report back after information submitted. So this is just a small sampling of the thousands of tips that we forward to law enforcement, and also to the fact that we serve 9 parishes. So we try to kind of give a sampling of instances that were across parish lines.
Okay, so let's talk about some of these cases. I know our first theft is an auto theft arrest.
Yes, so when we had an individual who was, this one got a lot of attention. You remember they had dogs in the car, pit bulls, I believe, and this individual took and carjacked a car at a gas station and had the dogs in the car and kept the dogs until tipsters started calling in. And we had lots of information on this come through, and finally we were able to, NOPD was able to make the apprehension. The individual, the alleged suspect, is Brian Spears, and all the dogs were recovered and fine. So that family went through a lot. They had posted reward funds and everything out to try to gain back that truck. Again, they had just happened to go to a gas station and step inside the gas station.
Wow. All right, next we have a sex offender arrest.
Sex offender arrest. This is an individual who was at large for a while, and he was non-compliant. Okay, so what we were looking here is we work with the marshals, we work with local law enforcement, and this was an individual who was not compliant with the registry, Mr. David Jones, and due to a tipster, we were able to make that apprehension, and now he will have to be compliant. I mean, you are arrested and you are charged with that incident that you're not being compliant with that important registry. And then I believe we have
a murder arrest.
Murder arrest. Okay, so this is an individual, Jesse Hughes, who was wanted for second-degree murder, and that was an incident that happened in September 2021. So approximately a year. We were able to gather the information. U.S. Marshals went out along with NOPD detectives and VALs, and they were able to apprehend Mr. Jesse Hughes. So I can guarantee you the family of that victim was thrilled that to be able to have this, justice served for them in the sense that he was apprehended.
And then armed robbery arrest.
Armed robbery. Okay, so this was one in Slidell, and we might have remembered hearing about this on the news. It had a lot of coverage. This individual hit 3 gas stations, 3 gas stations. And armed robbery is very vicious. I mean, it's very violent, and information came through. There was a chase, and tipsters, along with other information from social media, actually helped to make that apprehension by the Slidell Police Department. I believe they actually were helped with NOPD, but again, this individual, Mr. Kevin Borden, was arrested for 3 armed robberies. And if you think about the one that we recently had on St. Claude Avenue, where there was a poor clerk that was dragged by her hair.
Yeah, I remember that one.
So actually a tip helped come in and identify, I believe it's juveniles, so we don't have that name to post, but juveniles responsible for that very vicious act.
Yeah.
So for citizens, when they're seeing this stuff, you've got to understand that you do play a role in making, having a successful outcome to make these apprehensions.
Yeah.
Critical.
And coming up, we have National Night Out Against Crime.
We have National Night Out Against Crime, so this is a place for you to be able to not only network with your neighbors to know what's going on, but also to be out there and thank law enforcement. And I want to continue to say how important it is for us to say thank you, because you've got some people out there who are working, many hours on your behalf. There's 2 events that I wanted to highlight. First off, there's a kickoff party for National Night Out Against Crime. I really want to thank the Kenner Police Department. They've been leading this charge for many years, and that is Sunday, October 2nd. That's from 12 to 6 p.m. at the Pontchartrain Center out in the parking lot area there. So that's on a Sunday. That's very family-friendly, and it has multiple law enforcement agencies out there doing demonstrations. So it's a lot of fun, a lot of food, and different things. And then the actual night out is Tuesday here locally. It's Tuesday, October 4th. So there are going to be parties everywhere. You can register your party with us, and we provide materials and shirts and things like that. But look at your law enforcement Facebook pages or whatever, your local areas, because there's 200 or 300 parties already registered. And I'm excited because we haven't seen that in a long time, with COVID and everything. So people are stepping up, and and it's important for them to step up, to be part of the team. And again, always say thank you to the first responders who are out there, because they need that morale boost.
Definitely. On the front lines, a lot of work for them to do, and they're short-staffed. All right, Darlene, thank you so much for being with us. We posted a link on our website under the links tab where you can find more information about Night Out Against Crime. Just head to WWL-TV.com. Peyton?